New reaction today to Pam Bondi's abrupt departure as Attorney General. Her removal comes amid mounting criticism from both Democrats and Republicans alike over her handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files. With less than 2 weeks before her deposition, scheduled April 14th, Democratic lawmakers are calling the decision a calculated move.
I think the crux of this has to do with him trying to move beyond the Epstein files and what's going on, and the fact that he lied. Publicly, he said he didn't know really Jeffrey Epstein. He kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. We know that files within the Epstein files that we've seen that are unredacted show us that he's lying about that. And he wants to move beyond this.
Lawmakers, including Republican Nancy Mace, vow to force Bondi to testify regardless of her job status, claiming she remains legally obligated as an individual with knowledge under the panel's subpoena. Joining me is Danielle Bensky, a survivor of Epstein's abuse and a friend to us. We're glad to see you again, Danielle. But look, we just heard together Florida Congressman Maxwell Frost say that Trump is using Bondi's removal to move past the Epstein files. Do you agree with that calculation? Does the timing of her removal seem convenient for the administration?
It sure does seem convenient, but we just hope that she does, in fact, show up because there have been so many failures that she really just needs to answer for. So I think that is the hope from survivors right now, is that even though she's no longer acting attorney general, that she does show up on the 14th.
Right, and she would have certainly knowledge to impart during her time there. But look, this comes, the termination that is, less than 2 weeks before this scheduled deposition. And lawmakers intend to force her to attend. They say she can't escape accountability. She is legally obligated to appear. What does accountability from Bondi look like to you, Danielle?
It's a really good question. I think, there was such an egregious mishandling of the files under her leadership. So I think just survivors have always had so many questions. I think the greater question right now is about Todd Blanche. I think that survivors have a lot of questions about how he will move forward in this. I don't know that he's a suitable attorney general right now because of his engagement with Ghislaine Maxwell, because of his lack of response to survivors. I mean, survivors have been reaching out to the DOJ from the very beginning of all of this. And, now he's also saying that the files, in fact, were not mishandled, which I think everybody from here to Mars could see that they absolutely were mishandled. So I think that, while, of course, we want Bondi to show up and she needs to testify and she has a lot to answer for, I think our focus is really shifting now to can we hear from Todd Blanche? Like, what is his strategy here? Yeah.
To that end, we have a soundbite we can play from him. And in it, he denies that Bondi's firing had anything to do with the Epstein files. Let's take a listen to that.
I have never heard President Trump say that the Attorney General that anything that happened to her had anything to do with the Epstein files. And so, look, the Epstein files has been a saga that's lasted for the past year. And so I think that to the extent that the Epstein files was a part of the past year of this Justice Department, should not be a part of anything going forward.
So are you worried that Blanche, as a replacement, is going to try to bury any kind of progress that we've seen in this investigation?
I think he's really quick to want to turn the page. I think everything that we're seeing from him has been very politically motivated instead of based in anything legal. And I think that hurts survivors because I heard him call, it's the Epstein saga. He keeps using the word saga, and it's like, we are not living in Star Wars, right? These are survivor lives. And we are trying to get to the bottom of all of this. And so I just hope that he will take this seriously. But I think it's really just a play to turn the page and move on from all of this. But, I don't think America is moving on from this so quickly.
There was that stunning moment, and you were there in the room when Bondi previously testified and refused to face you and the other survivors and apologize for her department's handling of the Epstein files. Given her combative attitude, are you certain she will appear for a second hearing? Do you think that lawmakers can force her to do it?
No, I very much don't think so. I have said from the beginning that I highly doubt that she will show up. But maybe now that she's no longer sitting as acting attorney general, maybe she will show up. I hope that I'm pleasantly surprised, but I don't have a great amount of faith, to be honest.
Well, it'd certainly be something we'd all be very curious to hear. But as you know, it has been over 2 months since the DOJ released a batch of the Epstein files. Besides, Danielle, the high-profile arrests of Ghislaine Maxwell and former Prince Andrew, prosecutors have not brought any new charges from those documents. So what does justice look like to you? Does it end with more arrests?
Definitely more arrests. You know, there are so many layers of co-conspirators in the story. We hope that they are held to account for their crimes, right? So that looks different for every layer. I think we're really hopeful about, we're already seeing so many people step down from positions of leadership, and that has been great to see across the board. But I think like changing names of scholarships, making sure that there are no statues honoring the people who, in this country have possessed power in the wrong way, So I think, we are hopeful that we will pursue more investigations and hope that the DOJ does come around to start those investigations.
I guess we shall see. All right, Danielle Bensky, it's good to talk to you, my friend. We'll see you soon.
Thank you
Thanks.
so much.